Most people spend their entire lives earning money and never once build a single thing that earns for them. My friend, read that again. Let it land. You think earning well means you are building something. That is a lie. I believed it too. For years, I confused a growing number with a growing life. They are not the same thing. Today, you will practice real English, and you will learn 5 ideas that quietly change how you see money and your future. Both at once. Stay until the end. The final lesson is the one nobody says out loud, and it is the one I wish someone had said to me. This is English Story Studio. We teach real English through real ideas about money, discipline, and building a life worth having. I made good money once. I thought that was enough. It was not. That is the lens for everything I am about to tell you. Not theory. Not something I read. Something I paid for. My friend, if you work hard every month and still feel like nothing is moving, you are not lazy. You are not unlucky. You are missing something nobody taught you. And that missing piece has a name. Most people know how to earn. Almost nobody knows how to build. Those are 2 completely different things. Earning fills your hands. Building fills your future. You can earn for 30 years and still have nothing that earns for you. I know. I did exactly that. In this video, we will look at 5 assets. 5 things you can begin to build right now, before 30, before your salary is big, before you feel ready. We will start with the mirror. You will see yourself clearly. Then things will get uncomfortable. That is not a mistake. That is where the real change happens. And at the end, we will talk about what comes after the discomfort, the clarity, the first real step. Stay until the end. What I saved for last is the hardest truth, but it is also the most useful. Now, let us begin. His name is Amir. He is 24 years old. He works as a junior bank teller in Karachi. Every morning he sits behind a window and handles other people's money. He counts it. He sorts it. He moves it from one account to another. He knows the procedures better than most people at his branch. He is good at his job. He is reliable. He shows up. On the 15th of every month, his own salary arrives. By the 25th, it is gone. Phone bill, rent, food, and one small thing he told himself he deserved. Nothing dramatic, nothing reckless, just gone. He does not feel poor. He feels almost there. That word, almost, is doing a lot of work in his life. It keeps him calm enough to stay still. It keeps him moving just enough to not move at all. Here is the detail that stays with me about Amir. He keeps a screenshot of his salary notification on his phone. Not to track it, just to see it, just to feel it for a moment before the month takes it. I know this person. I was this person. Not in Karachi. Not at a bank window. But in the same place inside, working hard, earning something, and watching it disappear without ever understanding why. If you have ever ended a month wondering where it all went, Amir's story is yours too. Lesson 1. Income is not an asset. Your salary is not an asset. I know that is hard to hear, but it is the first truth, and without it, nothing else I say will matter. A salary is a trade. You give your time. They give you money. The moment the trade stops, the money stops. That is not security. That is dependency. I learned this the hard way. I had a good income for years. A real income, the kind that made other people nod when I mentioned it. I thought that number meant I was building something. What I was actually building was a lifestyle that needed the income to survive. The income was not an asset. The income was the only wall between me and nothing. The mirror phase of life is when you see that clearly for the first time. Most people avoid that mirror. They work harder instead. More hours, more effort, more hope that the number will eventually be enough. But the number is never the point. Here is what income actually is. It is a starting material, nothing more. The way wood is a starting material for a table. The wood is not the table. You have to build the table. Most people spend their whole lives delivering wood and never once make anything from it. I had plenty of wood. I built almost nothing. And at 45, I understood exactly what that cost. My friend, this is not about being negative. This is about being honest before it is too late. Right now, you have time. Time to take the income and do something real with it. But first, you must stop calling the income the destination. The salary is the start. It was always only the start. Amir is good at his job. 2 years at that branch, and he knows the system better than people who have been there 5. His manager trusts him. His numbers are clean. But here is the real number. If Amir stops walking through that door tomorrow, his income stops that same day. No salary. No backup. No system working in his place. He has been trading his time reliably for 2 years and has built exactly nothing that continues without him. Not because he is careless. Because nobody told him that the trade was never meant to be the whole plan. I was in that same position for longer than I want to admit. I thought keeping the trade alive was the goal. It was not. Action. Write down every source of money in your life right now. Next to each one, write this. What happens to this money if I stop showing up for 30 days? Look at your answers honestly. That is where you are. No judgment. Just the truth in front of you. Lesson 2. Most people own things, not assets. Here is something nobody told me when I was spending money on things that felt important. Most of what people call an investment is not an investment at all. An asset is simple. An asset is something that holds its value or grows over time. By that definition, most things people buy are the opposite of assets. They are liabilities dressed up in good feelings. I know this because I spent years collecting things that felt like assets. A car. Equipment for a business idea I never fully started. A watch. Things that meant something when I bought them and meant less every year after. I was not foolish. I was normal. And normal when it comes to money is the problem. The mirror is uncomfortable here. Because when you look closely at what you own, most of it is worth less than you paid. Not a little less. A lot less. The phone. The vehicle. The clothes. The subscriptions you forget you have. None of these are building anything for you. They are slowly costing you. An asset is not about how it looks when you buy it. It is about what it does over time. Does it grow? Does it produce? Does it hold? If the answer to all 3 is no, it is not an asset. It is an expense with better marketing. Nobody warned me about this early enough. I made real money and spent it on things that felt like status and cost me like debt. By the time I understood the difference, I was starting over. My friend, you do not have to wait that long, but you do have to look honestly at what you own right now. Last year, Amir bought a second-hand motorcycle. He thought about it for weeks before he did. He told himself it was practical. He told himself it was an investment because he would need it less than a rideshare. He even called it his asset to a friend at work. 1 year later, the motorcycle is worth less than he paid. It has needed 2 repairs. It costs him fuel and maintenance every single month. It is not an asset. It is an expense he is emotionally attached to. I have seen this pattern dozens of times. The thing that feels like progress is often the thing quietly draining the account. Amir is not wrong for buying it. He's wrong for calling it something it is not. Look at your 3 largest purchases from the last year. Just 3. For each one, ask this single question. Is this worth more or less than the day I got it? Do not judge yourself. Do not explain the answer. Just see it clearly. That clarity is worth more than anything you bought. Lesson 3. The habit of spending is invisible until it is not. This one took me the longest to see. Not the big decisions, the small ones. I did not lose money through one dramatic mistake. I lost it slowly, the way water finds every small crack and eventually brings the wall down. Small purchases, reasonable ones, things that made sense in the moment. A meal here, something for the house, a thing on sale that I did not need but could not pass up. No single decision ruined anything. All of them together did. The habit of spending is invisible because each individual choice feels justified. You are not being reckless. You are being human. But the pattern is already set long before you see it. And by the time the month ends with nothing left, the habit is not new. It has been running quietly for years. This is the mirror moment, my friend. The most honest one. Most people, when they see the month end with nothing, blame the month. A hard week. An unexpected cost, something that came up. And sometimes that is true, but most of the time the real answer is simpler and harder to accept. The spending was always happening. It was just too small to see in the moment. I have seen this pattern in my own life for a decade before I understood it. I kept waiting for the big mistake I could fix. There was no big mistake. There was only the slow drip that I told myself was normal. Patterns do not fix themselves because you feel bad about them. They fix themselves only when you see them clearly, every day, until the seeing changes the doing. This is not about shame. It is about vision. Amir does not blow his money. That is the truth. He is not gambling. He is not spending recklessly on large things. He is spending reasonably on many small things. A meal at a stall near the branch because he was tired. A mobile top-up because the data ran low. A small purchase on a Saturday because the week was hard and he felt he had earned something small. None of those decisions alone are wrong. But together, by the 25th, the account is empty and Amir is doing the math that never quite works. Nobody warned him that the small things would add up to the whole thing. Nobody warns anyone. Action for the next 7 days. Write down every purchase within 1 hour of making it. Not to judge it. Not to stop it. Just to see it. A small notebook. A note on your phone. Whatever you will actually use. 7 days. Every purchase. 1 hour. Just see the pattern. That is all. Stop. Before the next lesson, be honest with yourself right now. When is the last time your month ended with more than it started? Take a breath. Do not answer quickly. Sit with that question for a moment, not to feel bad, but to feel the truth of where you actually are. Because where you are is the only real place you can start from. In the next part, we go deeper. The lessons get harder, the questions get more uncomfortable. And that is exactly where the real change begins. Stay with me. The mirror phase showed you where you are. Now we go somewhere harder. This phase is fire. Not the kind that destroys, the kind that shows you exactly what is real and what was only ever comfortable. Lesson 4. Knowledge is the first asset you can build with nothing. I believed for years that I needed money to build something. That was the lie I told myself every time I did not start. Not yet. Not until I have more. Not until the conditions are right. The conditions were never going to be right. I understand that now. Knowledge does not wait for conditions. It does not require capital. It does not care what your salary is or what city you live in. It is the one asset that you can begin building today with nothing in your account and nothing but time. But here is what most people miss. Not all knowledge is an asset. General knowledge is not an asset. Knowing a little about many things is not an asset. The only knowledge that compounds, the only kind that becomes a real asset over time, is specific knowledge that solves real problems in a field that matters. This is the fire. This is where phase 2 gets uncomfortable, because you may have spent years learning things that felt productive and built nothing real. I did. I read widely. I was curious. I could talk about many topics. None of it compounded. None of it built anything that continued without me. What changed everything for me after I lost everything was learning one specific thing deeply. Not broadly, deeply. The kind of knowledge where someone calls you because you are the person who knows that thing. That kind of knowledge does not depreciate. It grows the longer you hold it, and no market crash, no bad employer, no difficult year can take it from you. My friend, the gap between where you are and where you want to be is often not a money gap. It is a knowledge gap. And that gap is making noise whether you hear it or not. Amir works in a bank. He processes transactions, follows procedures, answers customer questions. He is competent. He is trusted. But here is what Amir does not know. He does not understand the financial products he sells customers every day. He knows the process. He does not know the principle. He could not explain compound interest in a way that would help someone make a real decision. He works inside a building full of financial knowledge and has absorbed almost none of it. Not because he is careless, because nobody told him that absorbing it was his responsibility, not his employer's. That gap is costing him every single day. Silently, identify one specific skill directly connected to your field that you do not yet have. Just one. Write its name down on paper right now. That name is your next asset, not a goal, not a wish, an asset you have decided to build. Write the name. That is step 1. Lesson 5. Your network is either growing or shrinking. There is no staying still after the first 4 lessons. Amir does something. He opens a notebook, not an app, a real notebook with a pen. He writes down one thing he knows that most people at his branch do not. It takes him a while. He almost writes nothing, but he finds it. He also does something harder. He finds the name of a retired colleague, someone he always respected but never kept in contact with, and he sends a message. The notebook stays mostly empty after the first page. He does not know what to write next. The colleague replies politely, and then the conversation dies because Amir does not know what to say. He does the actions and sees nothing come of them. For 3 days, he almost stops. He almost tells himself it was a good idea that just did not work for him. I know this moment. I lived it, the moment right after the first effort, when nothing has changed yet and the habit has no evidence to stand on. That moment is the one that separates people, not the big decisions. That one quiet moment of almost stopping. Amir does not stop, but it is close. The people around you right now are setting your ceiling, not intentionally, not cruelly, just by being there. This is the truth that I resisted longest, because accepting it means looking honestly at your closest relationships, and that is one of the most uncomfortable things a person can do. I believed for years that I was an individual, that my thinking was my own, that the people around me shaped my social life but not my ambitions. That was wrong. The invisible ceiling is not built from what people say to you. It is built from what they never say, from the conversations that never happen, from the possibilities that nobody in your circle has ever tried, so nobody in your circle ever mentions. If everyone around you earns roughly the same, worries roughly the same way, and spins roughly the same, then you have a ceiling made of mirrors. It feels like a full room. It is actually a very small one. Charlie Munger said the first rule of compounding is never interrupt it unnecessarily. That applies to networks too. The person who challenges how you think, who has been somewhere you have not, who asks you a question you cannot answer easily, that person is compounding your thinking. Every year you spend without one person like that in your life is a year of interrupted growth. This is not about using people. It is about being honest that growth does not happen inside a closed loop. My friend, the people who are 10 years ahead of you are not better than you. They are just in different conversations, and some of those conversations are available to you right now if you are willing to reach for them. Everyone Amir knows earns roughly what he earns. They worry roughly the way he worries. They spend roughly the way he spends. They are not bad people. They are his people. He loves them, but not one of them has ever invested in anything. Not one of them talks about building knowledge as a strategy. Not one of them has a financial plan that extends past next month. He is not surrounded by failure. He is surrounded by mirrors. And mirrors only show you what is already there. Someone I know once said to me, "Show me your 5 closest people, and I will tell you the exact ceiling on your ambition." I thought that was harsh. Then I looked at my own 5. And I understood. Name one person, not a celebrity, a real person you could actually contact. Someone who is 10 years ahead of where you want to be. Write their name down. Then write one specific question you could ask them. One honest question about how they think, not what they have. You do not have to send it today, but write it, because writing it makes it real. Here is the uncomfortable question. Is your closest circle pulling you forward, or just keeping you comfortable? My friend, stop here. I need to say something directly. Comfort is not the same as support. The people who never challenge you are not always helping you. Sometimes the kindest thing a person can do is refuse to confirm what you already believe. I did not have one person like that for most of my adult life, and I paid for that silence in ways I am still calculating. Lesson 6. Mindset is not motivation. It is the operating system. I used to think mindset was something you worked on when things were going well. A bonus. A top-up on already good conditions. I was wrong about that completely. Mindset is not motivation. Motivation is a feeling, and you have been waiting for it. You know exactly what I mean. The plan that starts when things calm down. The saving that begins when the salary goes up. The investment that happens when you finally feel ready. Those are not plans. Those are the exact thoughts that guarantee none of it ever happens. I know because I held those same thoughts for years. Not laziness. Not fear exactly. Just a quiet agreement with delay that I never examined. Here is what I found when I finally looked at it directly. Every financial decision I made started somewhere before the decision. It started in a belief I had never questioned, a belief about time, about effort, about whether delayed reward was even real or just something responsible people said. If you believe, somewhere underneath your planning, that people like you do not really build wealth, then no system will save you. Not a budget, not a savings app, not a course. The operating system runs first. It runs under everything. This is the fire, my friend. The most invisible part of the fire. The part that looks like normal thinking, but is actually the reason the cycle repeats. Charlie Munger spent decades as almost nobody before the world noticed him. Not because he was unlucky early. Because he was building the operating system. Quietly. Patiently. Long before there was evidence it was working. I had to lose everything before I looked at my own operating system. You do not have to wait that long. Amir tells himself a set of sentences. He tells himself he will invest when he has more. He will start saving when the month is less tight. He will make a plan when life slows down a little. He has been telling himself those sentences for 2 years. The month is never less tight. Life does not slow down. The plan does not start. These are not goals. These are a system designed accidentally to produce exactly what he has now. Nothing. The sentences feel responsible. They are not. They are delay wearing the clothes of patience. There's a difference. Real patience builds something while it waits. This kind of waiting builds nothing. Write down one belief you hold about money that you have never questioned. Just one. The first one that comes. Do not overthink it. Then ask yourself two things. Where did this belief come from? And is it actually true? Or is it just something I have always assumed? You do not need to answer perfectly. You just need to ask honestly. The fire showed you the lies. Now the river begins. Not a flood. A river. Steady. Clear. Moving forward without drama. This is where the clarity arrives. Not excitement. Not a surge of motivation. Just a quiet sense of what is actually true and what you can actually do. Lesson 7. Time is the asset that leaves while you are deciding. This is what I found when I finally moved, after I stopped waiting. After I stopped delaying. After I looked at the real cost of everything I had been postponing. Time is not patient. It does not wait for you to feel ready. It compounds quietly in one direction, and then one day you look back, and the distance between where you started and where you could have been is no longer a gap. It is a canyon. I am not telling you this to create fear. I am telling you because fear of the wrong thing has already cost most people enough. The real thing to understand is simpler. Compounding is not a financial concept. It is a life concept. It works on knowledge. It works on habits. It works on relationships. And it works on money. But it only works if you start, and the longer you wait to start, the less of it you get. At 24, Amir has something that no salary can buy and no promotion can give. He has time. More time than he understands right now. That time, used well, is more valuable than a doubled salary. 10 years from now, used poorly, it becomes the thing he mourns quietly at 40. I mourned it at 45. I sat with a compound interest calculator and looked at what 10 earlier years would have meant. I am not going to describe that number. I am just going to tell you that I did not close the screen for a long time. My friend, you are early. That is real. But early does not wait forever. The river metaphor is this. A river does not rush. It does not force. But it does not stop. Every day it is moving. Every day the work is happening, quietly, whether anyone is watching or not. Amir at 24 is at the top of the river. Every year he waits to start is a year the river moves without him. The distance does not shrink. It grows. Someone I know started putting aside a small amount at 22. Nothing significant. The kind of amount that feels almost embarrassing to mention. At 38, that account had done more work than his salary had in 3 years, not because of the amount, because of the time. Do one calculation today. Use any basic compound interest calculator. It takes 3 minutes. Put in a small fixed monthly amount, any amount. Run it from now to age 50, then run it again starting 5 years from now. Look at the difference. Do not explain it away. Do not say the numbers are not realistic. Just look at what time actually costs. Let that number stay with you. Lesson 8. Capital habits are built before capital arrives. This is the last lesson and the hardest one. Not hard to understand, hard to accept. The way you behave with money right now, at this salary in this moment, is the way you will behave when the money is bigger. The habits do not change when the income changes. Only the consequences do. I know this because I watched it happen to me in reverse. I had real money, real income, and I spent the way I had always spent, just with larger numbers. The habit was the same. The scale was different. When the money stopped, the habit was still there, now running on empty. Nobody warned me that the behavior I built in lean years would be the same behavior I carried into good years. I assumed more money would create more discipline. It does not work that way. The discipline has to exist first. Then the money gives it room to show what it can do. The river does not suddenly run differently when it gets wider. It runs the way it has always run. If it were straight, it stays straight. If it was erratic, it stays erratic. The water is not the point. The channel is the point. My friend, the habit is the asset. The money is only the result. A person who has never saved $50 a month will not know what to do with $500. Not because they are not smart, because the channel was never built. Build the channel now, while the amounts are small, while the consequences of getting it wrong are still survivable. This is not a consolation for having less. This is the actual advantage of starting early. Amir believes that when he earns more, things will be different. He believes this genuinely. It is not denial. It is hope. But his behavior with money at 24 will be his behavior at 34, unless something deliberate interrupts it. The spending habits are already formed. The saving habit is not yet. If nothing changes, more money will mean more of the same pattern at a higher volume. 11 weeks from now, Amir will set up one small automatic transfer, 2,000 rupees, an amount that almost embarrassed him to name. But he will not wait until it feels significant. He will start with what is embarrassing and trust that the habit is what he is building. That decision will matter more than any raise he receives in the next 5 years. Set one automatic transfer today. Any amount. Even the amount that feels too small to matter. To an account you do not check regularly. Do not wait for the right moment. The right moment is a myth you have been waiting for. The amount is not the point. The habit is. Start it today, not next month. Today, these 8 lessons are not separate ideas. They are one system. Income shows you the starting material. Assets show you what to build. Spending habits show you what is draining the foundation before you begin. Knowledge gives you the first thing to build with nothing. Network raises the ceiling. Mindset is the ground everything else stands on. Time shows you what delay actually costs, and capital habits are the channel that carries everything forward. The river does not need to be large to run. It needs to be moving. You now have the map. The question is, will you use it? Most people watch something like this and feel ready. That feeling is real, and that feeling is exactly when the mistakes happen. I am not going to warn you from a book. I made these mistakes. I watched them cost me things I had just started to build. These 3 are the ones that matter most. Mistake 1. Starting with the biggest thing. What? After learning about assets, most people immediately look for the largest move they can make. They want to invest a significant amount, learn the most impressive skill, reach the most successful person they know. They skip the small version entirely. Why? This fails because the habit has not been built yet. The large action requires a discipline that only exists after the small action has been repeated. Without the foundation, the big move collapses under its own weight. I know this. I tried to rebuild after losing everything by making large moves immediately. Every single one of them failed. Not because the ideas were wrong, because I had not earned the capacity yet. Fix. Start with the version that feels almost too small. The 2,000 rupee transfer. The one skill. The one message. Let the small version run for 60 days before you scale anything. The habit must exist before the size can grow. Mistake 2. Waiting for the feeling to come back. What? The clarity from a video or a book or a conversation feels strong in the first 24 hours. Then life continues. The feeling fades, and most people wait for it to return before they take the next step. Why? It will not return on its own. That is not a character flaw. That is how the mind works. Motivation follows action. It does not precede it. I made this mistake more than once. I felt ready. I did nothing that day. And by the next morning, the feeling was gone and I told myself I would find it again. I spent years finding and losing that feeling, instead of just building the habit without it. Fix. The action must happen on the same day the clarity arrives. Not perfectly, not completely, but something must move. Write the name of the skill. Open the calculator. Send the one message. Do not wait for tomorrow. Tomorrow has a different feeling. Mistake 3. Measuring too early. What? People start the habit, then check for results after 2 weeks and find nothing visible. The transfer is small. The notebook is thin. The new contact has not changed anything yet, so they conclude it is not working and they stop. Why? I watched this cost me everything I had just started to build. Not once, multiple times across different areas. The mistake is applying a short timeline to a long game. Compounding does not show up in 2 weeks. It shows up in 2 years. Checking at 2 weeks is like planting a tree and digging it up after 14 days to see if the roots are growing. Fix. Set one review date. Not 2 weeks from now. 90 days. Write it in the notebook. Between now and then, measure only the habit itself, not the result. Did I do the action today? That is the only question that matters in the first 90 days. 11 weeks after Amir first sat with that honest question about where his money was going, he has not become rich. His salary has not changed. His title has not changed. His city has not changed. But 3 things exist now that did not exist before. A small automatic transfer of 2,000 rupees leaves his account every month and goes somewhere he does not look at often. The amount still feels small to him. He sends it anyway. One person is in his life now who thinks differently about money than everyone else he knows. The retired colleague. The conversation is still awkward sometimes. Amir still does not always know what to say, but the conversation is happening. And on his lunch break, 3 days a week, he is halfway through a basic financial modeling course. He does not know yet what it will become. He is learning it anyway. He said something recently that I keep thinking about. He said, I used to think I just needed more money. Now I think I needed a different kind of patience. That is all I wanted too. Just to be moving, just to have something building, even slowly, even quietly, even in the direction I could not yet fully see. Of everything we talked about today, there is one thing I want you to remember. Not the 5 assets, not the list, not the framework. The one thing is this: the habit must come before the result. Always. Not sometimes, always. I spent the first half of my adult life believing the opposite. I believed results would teach me the habits. I thought when I had more, I would naturally do more with it. I thought the money would arrive and the discipline would follow. My friend, it works the other way. It has always worked the other way. The 2,000 rupee transfer is not about 2,000 rupees. It is about becoming the person who transfers something every month, no matter what. That person at 30, at 40, is a different person than the one who waited. Not because the amount grew, because the identity changed. I had to lose everything to understand that the behavior is the asset. The money is only what happens when the behavior runs long enough. Nobody told me that at 24. Maybe nobody told you either. I am telling you now. Here's what I have found on the other side of losing everything and starting again. There is a kind of patience that is not passive. It is not the patience of someone who is waiting. It is the patience of someone who is planting. Someone who knows the tree will not show above the ground for a long time. Someone who waters it anyway, every week. In good months and difficult ones, in months when the faith is strong and in months when it is almost gone. Amir lives in a city that does not make patience easy. Most people around him are moving fast, spending fast, measuring fast. He is choosing to grow instead. That choice is quiet. It does not look like much from the outside. Most real things do not. I do not know where you are today. I do not know what your city looks like, or what your salary is, or how long the month has been running before it empties. But I know the feeling of almost, of working hard and ending up in the same place, of telling yourself that one day, when the conditions are finally right, something will change. I know that feeling because I lived inside it for a long time, and I know what it takes to leave it. Not a miracle, not a windfall, not a perfect plan. Just one small thing, done today and then again tomorrow. The habit, the asset, the channel. The people who end up with something did not find a secret. They simply started building before they were ready, and they did not stop. This channel exists not for me. I already learned these lessons the hard way. It exists because you are still early enough that learning them now changes everything. If today's lesson stayed with you, press subscribe. Not for me, for you, so the next lesson finds you.